The rusted gates of Paradise Park hadn't seen a paying customer in 15 years. I dragged my fingers across the corroded metal, leaving clean lines in the orange dust. "You guys sure about this?" I asked, glancing back at Theo and Danny. Theo adjusted his backpack, his dark curls catching the late afternoon sun. "Come on, when are we going to get another chance? Besides, after what Jake's friend posted last week." "He's full of it," Danny cut in, but there was an edge to his voice that betrayed his uncertainty. At 16, he was the youngest of us three, but usually the most level-headed. Today, though, something was different. Nobody actually believes he saw anything. But we all knew why we were really here. Jake Morrison's viral post had exploded across our small-town social media last week. Or rather, the post his best friend uploaded from Jake's phone after finding it abandoned near Paradise Park's back entrance. The shaky video showed Jake, usually a stoic senior, backing away from something off camera, his face twisted in terror. The video cut off abruptly, and no one had seen Jake since. Search parties combed the area for days, but found nothing. Some said he'd just run away, but the look in his eyes in that final frame told a different story. People started whispering about Jake's best friend, Chris, how he was the last one to see Jake, how he was the one who found the phone. The police questioned him 3 times, but Chris's story never changed. He swore Jake had texted him to meet at the park that night, but when he arrived, all he found was the phone propped against the back gate, still recording. The way Chris had been acting since then, jumping at shadows, refusing to go out after dark, made me think he might have seen something too. Something he couldn't or wouldn't talk about. The fence wasn't hard to scale. Decades of trespassers had worn down the perfect spots. As we dropped down on the other side, the change was immediate. The temperature seemed to drop several degrees, though the summer sun still blazed overhead. Paradise Park sprawled before us, a skeletal monument to forgotten joy. The Ferris wheel loomed against the cloudless sky, its carriages swaying slightly despite the lack of wind. Faded candy-striped awnings hung in tatters over boarded-up game booths, and weeds pushed through cracks in the concrete paths like desperate, reaching fingers. "Check this out," Theo called, shining his flashlight through a broken window of the funhouse. The beam caught fragments of warped mirrors, creating a kaleidoscope of reflected light that danced across the walls. Something about the way the light moved seemed wrong, as if it was following patterns it shouldn't. I pulled out my phone to document everything, a habit I'd picked up from my amateur photography hobby. The screen showed nothing but static. "That's weird," I muttered, tapping it against my palm. Full battery, but we made our way deeper into the park, past rows of abandoned concession stands. The cotton candy machine in one booth still had its faded pink dome, now webbed with cracks like a shattered skull. Behind the counter, plastic cups lay scattered across the floor, as if everyone had simply vanished mid-sale. The menu board above still advertised Paradise Treats in peeling letters, prices frozen in time from 15 years ago. The game booths were even worse. Stuffed animals, now gray and moldering, hung limply from their metal hooks like forgotten prisoners. A few had fallen, their synthetic fur matted into dark clumps on the damp ground. In one stall, hundreds of darts remained embedded in the back wall, their red fletching faded to the color of dried blood. The balloons they were meant to pop had long since shriveled into twisted black shapes that looked uncomfortably like tiny, withered faces. The merchandise shop's broken windows gaped like jagged teeth. Through them, I could see rows of shelves still stocked with Paradise Park t-shirts and souvenirs, all covered in a thick layer of dust. A plastic name tag lay on the counter, its cheerful welcome message a mockery of the desolation surrounding us. In the corner, a full-length mirror reflected our movements, its surface clouded and distorted by age. For a moment, I could have sworn I saw a fourth figure in its reflection standing just behind us, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. The true creepiness of Paradise Park wasn't in its decay. It was in how everything looked frozen in mid-operation, as if the park had been abandoned in the middle of a busy summer day. Napkins still sat in their dispensers. Register drawers, layered with dust and dead insects, hung open, and half-empty condiment bottles lined the counters. It felt less like a place that had been closed down and more like one that had been evacuated in a hurry. Danny had wandered ahead to the carousel. The horses, once bright and proud, were now bleached gray by sun and rain, their painted eyes dulled to hollow stares. He reached out to touch one, then yanked his hand back. "It's warm," he whispered. The first giggle was so faint we almost missed it. It floated past us like a leaf on the wind, childlike and sweet. Then another, slightly closer, wrong somehow, the kind of laugh that lives in the space between playful and predatory. "Guys," Danny's voice cracked, "we should go." But we didn't move, couldn't move, because now we could see it, the figure standing in the shadow of the carousel's central column. It wore what might have once been a circus performer's costume, now bleached bone white and hanging in moldy tatters. Its head was cocked at an impossible angle. The thing that wore a clown's face moved like stop-motion animation brought to life. Jerky, unnatural frames of movement that shouldn't exist in reality. Its smile stretched wider than any human mouth could manage, teeth sharp as a blade. "Run!" I screamed, but the word came out as barely a whisper. We scattered. Theo bolted toward the funhouse. Danny made for the fence, and I found myself sprinting down the midway. The laughter followed, multiplying until it seemed to come from everywhere at once. My feet pounded against the cracked pavement as I ran past empty booths and silent rides. My lungs burned. Behind me, I could hear the skip-step shuffle of something that moved wrong, getting closer. A scream cut through the cacophony of giggles. Theo's voice, coming from the funhouse. I skidded to a stop, torn between helping my friend and saving myself. The decision was made for me when Theo burst through a side door, running full tilt. "Don't look back," he yelled as he passed. "Whatever you do, don't look back." We found Danny at the fence, trying desperately to climb with trembling hands. Together, we hauled him up and over, tumbling onto the other side in a heap of scraped knees and ragged breathing. The laughter stopped. In the sudden silence, we looked back at Paradise Park. The clown stood at the gates, its impossibly wide smile now a gash of darkness across its face. It raised one white-gloved hand in a cheerful wave, then simply stepped backward, fading into nothing. We didn't stop running until we reached my house. We tried to warn people about what we saw, but no one believed us. Some called us melodramatic teenagers, others attention seekers. Paradise Park still stands today, its gates rusted shut, its rides slowly crumbling. Sometimes on quiet afternoons, People walking past say they can hear the sound of children's laughter carried on the wind. But it's probably just their imagination. Probably. Jake Morrison was found 3 days after our visit, wandering the park's parking lot. His hair turned completely white. He doesn't talk anymore, but he never stops smiling. And sometimes, when he thinks no one is watching, he waves to something only he can see.